Hello, good my SM viewers. If you are new to the channel, kindly like, share, subscribe, and please do not forget to hit the notification bell. Mr. Chinedu Michael, looking at the Nigerian political landscape of recent, it has been as though they not have made up their mind to give Tinubu a very serious battle. Because recently we saw an American lobbying firm hired by the man Atiku with about 1.2 million US dollar dragging the man Tinubu to Trump's office over ADC issue. As if that is not enough, we are seeing Malami, who recently gained his freedom through bail application he filed in the court, moving crowd in the north, in Kebbi. And as we have it, the north have come out clearly to say they are not going to make mistake of 2023. It looks as though they are not minding whether this is Jagaban of Africa. Let me get your take.
Yes, they will always say he has over 30-something governors, but he does not actually have the masses. I'm not totally against the northern stand or shift recently over Tinubu's ambition, having maybe put a lot of things on ground. I don't want to know whether Tinubu is actually dealing with them or trying to squeeze them, or they are just pretending over the development, political development in the country, especially when it comes to the issue of insecurity. I don't want to take that, but I want to believe clearly, that the same northerners are also trying to push former President Goodluck Jonathan, to the political circle, to the political table, 2027. The same northerners too are being seen to be behind a certain narrative that we are going to see Kwankwaso and Obi on ADC ticket. The same northerners too, who have known their history right from the beginning of this. Let me start from 1990 date, changing narrative at its when due, and they fear, that they might push up Obi at the end of the day and sabotage Obi, ahead of 2027, which is very, possible, given the reservations they have had over the years. So it is not something that is very clear when they begin to change narrative. Yes, Bola Tinubu contributed so much to the emergence of the former president, of course, late now, talking about Buhari himself, to emerging as the president of Inaso Rock, irrespective that it was very clear that as at that time it was supposed to be a southerner, or maybe possibly an eastern from the eastern part of the country, having witnessed, or Nigeria having observed, the rule, leadership, or presidency of Obasanjo, who is also a southwest. So you can see that the North cannot actually be trusted with this narrative, of rejection of the current president Bola Ahmed Tinubu, even though that is being believed that he has not actually, given Nigeria what they needed in terms of what he claimed to be.
Okay, let us look at the angle of RFI, because RFI is currently seen as a rally point of the Fulanis and the northern political class. And as far as he having a running battle, he have been incarcerated, and there are so many litigation confronting him. And this is a man who have told Tinubu that you have no path to victory in 2027. And it looks as though he's not getting freedom anytime soon. Do you think Tinubu will allow this man go before 2027?
There's already the panic in sort of correct panic, serious panic, because one, the people who would have aided Bola Ahmed Tinubu, without northern support are already against him. Tinubu is not enjoying any international support, international relations from countries that are supposed to have done that, before now. And Tinubu's position currently now shows that there's likely going to be a serious diplomatic fallout between him and, of course, the United States of America. Tinubu sees some northern, those who are very loyal to the former president, talking about Buhari, and the structures need to be dismantled. How did they put it there? He always believed that destroy the masters that made you. That's what they want to us to believe, so that they will not,
7 laws of power.
yes, so that they will not come back and fight you at the end of the day. So he going after this. It's not as if a lot of them that are in his cabinet are not corrupt. They are very corrupt. Yes, El-Rufai has questions to answer. Malami has questions to answer, especially when it comes to the position they took under Buhari concerning the extraordinary rendition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So if you look at it very well, and for him to have gone after this, because the Northerners are looking at who is going to occupy the vacuum left by Buhari. It is between Atiku and El-Rufai. But El-Rufai have so much secret about Bola Ahmed Tinubu that's already in his palm, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu felt otherwise, that the only thing I needed to do now is to squeeze him to submission, and without making that kind of mistake and considering the position of El-Rufai and Atiku within the northern political circle, Bola Ahmed Tinubu unknowingly shot himself on the leg, and it is biting seriously on him now as he stands now. So that is what it means. So as he stands now, there's no way he is going to recover from that deadly mistake. The same thing happened to El-Rufai, the same thing happened to Malami, and the rest of them. And that is why it's always very difficult to go after those who is perceived to be behind insecurity in Nigeria, especially coming from the Fulani extraction. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu is very careful. You can see the Sultan of Sokoto reacting against him. The emirs are already warming up, dying minute to the election. So the best thing he needed to do now, is to ban some political parties that houses this major powerful northern heavyweight, and try to see how he can manipulate them and establish them, so that he'll be able to have a coronation, not election, come 2027.
Okay, now let me bring this angle, because from what Obi himself said yesterday, that the city boy movement is only targeted at the eastern part of the country, perhaps because of his own ambition. Because according to him, that you don't see the momentum of city boy movement in other part of the country apart from eastern part of the country. Do you think Obi is a threat to the man Tinubu in southeast and generally in Nigeria?
Obi is an organic threat. The kind of factor too. It's no Korea. That one is a grassroots threat to Bola Ahmed Tinubu's ambition. The list too he brought out is also a major, rejection, total rejection about his person and that is why they have declared Umahi and the rest of them person non grata. They don't have any political and structural value. Come 2027, they can offer Bola Ahmed Tinubu. See, it's a very clear thing, and the North might be actually be behind, because see, Nigerians need to be careful, the Igbos too need to be careful, the Biafrans need to be careful, when you see such manipulation, because it's a very delicate question. To have noticed that there's no city boy in Southwest, there's no city boy in Middle Belt, there's no city boy in Northeast, North Central, and Northwest. You cannot find any such thing, even in the so-called South. You cannot find it, gathering so much momentum. Why in the East are we seeing city boys movement? Though I can tell you, in a space of time, it is definitely going to crash if it has not actually crashed, because the message we are getting that the thing has continued to somersault, against the Cubanas, and they don't have anything to say about that, because see, the primary factor, there's no also Kanu will not say Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Benjamin Kanu will not say Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Umahi will not say Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And once he lose the regional bloc for support as in election, voting, I mean, that is automatically gone. So Obi's position may be strategic to stop further agitation of Biafra, because that's the way the Northerners are actually looking at it. And secondly, to be able to project Nigeria image to the international community and be able to reconcile Nigeria already battered image with the United States of America. And that is why the North are not pushing for Obi because they love Obi. They are pushing for Obi because they have simply seen the narrative that there's going to be a possible breakdown and breakup of Nigeria, with Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president or not. The America does not care, but they are looking at it from that angle that bringing Obi will get international attention, will get international sympathy, will now a position for Nigeria for a proper look in into a lot of things, problems that surrounding what is happening in Nigeria. But let me just tell you, Obi has 4 years or 8 years to be in power and goes. Then what happens? Would it be able to stop the jihadist tendencies in Nigeria? The answer is just no. But let us watch as the political development continue to unveil, on daily basis, and with the northern bloc now changing making very decisive, decision on Malami Tinubu'S return to power, and why the Yoruba, the Southwest, are insisting, that if you don't get it now, we might reactivate Oduwa Republic. That's what Soweto said. That Tinubu was actually used to negotiate, 2023 presidential election that favored Malami Tinubu. So if I see the narrative that at a point Malami Tinubu was actually losing the ambition to break up Nigeria if the power did not get to him. From what Soweto was saying. So he was engineering. So he attempted to break up Nigeria, in that regard, if what Soweto is saying is actually correct. And the Northerners haven't seen it from that angle that, if they continue to drag this thing to an extent and Obi overwhelmingly win 2027 election, that Bola Tinubu might decide not to relinquish power to Obi, and that might likely lead to maybe interim national government at the end of the day, whereby they will look for a way to draft in Jonathan, because we are already seeing Jonathan, gathering momentum again, gathering support. People are already calling him in to, step in and save Nigeria at the end of the day. So you can see how the whole thing swings. But all these things you are seeing now is pure political manipulation by the Fulani North, to dismantle and possibly break or breach an alliance between the core North, Fulani, and of course the eastern part of the country.
Thank you very much for your time. This is a good place to let it go.